This video is cannabis growing edutainment created for viewers aged 18 and over. By continuing to watch, you confirm that you are 18 years of age or older. All activities depicted in this video are conducted in compliance with our laws here in Canada. Oh hey, don't forget to watch to the end of this video for funny bloopers and dumb stuff. So, now we know you're a grown-up. Welcome to GrowDaddy TV.
Come on!
Hey everybody, I'm GrowDaddy, aka Patrick, and welcome to GrowDaddy TV Studios, because you have made it. You've made it to our 10th season, and that means I've been growing for 10 grows now. Right, Mrs. GrowDaddy?
That's correct.
And it is our second episode, and I gotta be honest with you guys, we might have missed an episode or so because we were sick. So I think our last episode showed us planting them in these containers 18 days ago. Yeah, 18 days ago we put them in these containers. We missed one of the weekly updates. But we're back on track now.
You didn't miss much.
Didn't miss much. They were just little seedlings growing. I'm going to try to tell you guys what I did with the lights and what I've had to do with the lights in the last few days that we missed. It's been 27 days since we started these as seeds, you guys, and 18 days since we planted them in the soil. Now, remember, they were just little sprouts for 10 days, you know, in our tray, and we had to come down here.
Well, we almost died of the flu.
We almost died of the flu, and I think everything kind of popped in 4 or 5 days, and then we had to wait. And things were okay.
Until we got enough energy to come down and uppot them.
Yeah, but after about 10 days in our tray, I start getting a little nervous that they've been in there too long and it's time to get them in some soil. So we came down here sick as dogs. You saw us on the last video. We did the uppot them, and I'll tell you what, these girls are looking absolutely fabulous right now. We topped them a couple days ago. We got that on film, didn't we, Mrs. GrowDaddy? And we'll put that in here somewhere. But I did come down here the other day because the girls were getting big, and I said, you know, it's time to top them to get those, you know, lower branches moving up. And all right, this is how we top an early veg, you guys. I like to hit them at the 4th node, and this is the 4th node on this Shiskaberry here. So let's knock this top bud off, and that's all we kind of do is break it off on the top, and very easy to do. And let's do our other Shiskaberry. Our other Shiskaberry is about twice as big, so she's a lot longer, but her nodes are a lot more spaced out. So let's check it out. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4th. So we're going to take off the top of that, right at the top. I think there was another node above that I could have taken off too, but we topped her at the 4th node. Now let's check out our Chemy Lemmy. She is looking pretty good. Let's count up 4 nodes on her real quick. Hang on. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's take that top bud off the top of that. On the top of the 4th node came off real easy. And then of course our Afghan Kosher. Same thing, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's take the top node off of her. And I'll tell you guys what, this is what we like to do first. First time I'm touching the girls so far, and next week we are going to start training on them. So we're going to let them grow up for another week before we start bending them over. That's how we do it. You guys. So come on! We have a spreadsheet in the description you can download. It's for all of our, at least.
And we put overlays too on the video too, so in case anything we say isn't clear, it should be pretty clear on the overlay.
Well, we offer a lot of tips and tricks of what we're doing, and Miss GrowDaddy puts overlays over here, and we'll get to them. We go through our light segment, we go to through our water segment, our VP. We just go through every little detail. And we also, at the end, just let you guys know in the beginning, it helps our algorithm to run all the way to the end. But Mrs. GrowDaddy always puts our bloopers on the end.
There's a reward.
There's a reward. Because sometimes, if you don't see the reward, sometimes they're okay. You know, you get a little chuckle or they're okay and you're thinking nice, but sometimes you really miss something. You really miss something sweet at the end. Let's talk about our lights in the tent this week, or I should say our lights in the tent for the last couple weeks, okay, you guys? Because remember, I started out with the seedlings. Remember from the last episode, I started out with the seedlings, having the light about 11, 12 inches from the top of the canopy, and I had 41 watts on top of it, which was giving me about
180 to 200 par.
Yeah, 180, 190 par on top of the canopy. I figured the girls would grow up to about 2 and then continue to grow up, and they did. We came in here yesterday. Was it yesterday, Mrs. GrowDaddy?
I think before yesterday.
A couple days ago, we came in here, and I said, oh, shit.
Oh, boy.
Look at Ivy. Ivy grew right up into the light. She was getting 300 par a little bit before she wanted it, I think, you know? And
yeah, her leaves were kind of, hey, why don't you show what plants do and they're getting too much?
I might as well. You know, one of the best things to do is learn how to kind of read your leaves and get an idea of how to read your leaves, whether you're giving it too much light or not. Because you guys can do the same thing I'm doing and then observe the girls and see what they're doing, and you can adjust
the leaves are going to tell you how much light they want.
Yeah, the leaves, but I'm going to give you a good general place to put the light, and then you can decide where to put the light after watching the leaves. And your leaves will kind of be praying. Mine kind of not praying as much. They're kind of really flat on their grow up. I haven't seen any praying going on, even if they're under par as small plants. But they will tend to start praying
when they want more light.
When they want more light, and they will lay flat.
When it's tickety-boo.
When it's tickety-boo, and they'll be like this and start curling over.
That's what Ivy was doing.
Like Ivy, you can see, and you can actually look at some of the damage on top of her leaves that she started curling over.
Now.
She's starting to come back, but you know what? She's looking good now. But I'm just saying, pay attention to your leaves, you guys. That's the biggest thing. You know, you follow people, you follow us YouTubers and stuff. You guys still look at your leaves, see if your light's in the right spot, because it only takes a couple days of really some harsh light.
Before you start seeing any weird like discoloration or anything, you'll see the edges of the leaves curling down, and that means they're trying to get away.
Yeah, and you'll see some different things kind of going on. You can tell.
Raise up the light height or turn down the watts.
What I'm saying, just pay attention. That's all you have to do is just pay attention, you guys. I had to raise these girls because Ivy's a monster and she's growing and growing and growing. So I want to get all these girls a fair chance at the light. And I'll tell you what, just in the day or two, in the couple days that I've already adjusted the light, this one is already grown up another inch in these girls. I'm just going to have to keep on keep on adjusting the height on the other girls for right now. So let's talk about water for a minute, you guys. This is one of my favorite. Water has become really fascinating, how these girls drink water and how I give them water. And you guys will see me when I go into the big 7-gallon pots. I'm going to use a Blue Map moisture meter to keep my moisture so I can water every single day and keep these girls perfectly hydrated without using, what do you call the stuff that comes in?
Auto pots? Or?
Well, I wouldn't say auto pots as much as a reservoir and your
irrigation?
Yeah, irrigation. Yeah, it's too much work
for
me.
All hand watering around here. It's funny how you considered hand watering less trouble than irrigation.
Well, the idea of setting up, a reservoir and then emptying out the reservoir, checking the reservoir all the time for the right pH and putting the right stuff in the reservoir. It may be really easy, especially if you're leaving town. If you're leaving town, it can give you many days. Hey, technology is great for a lot of you guys. For me,
we're kind of low tech.
Not so much. Technology is something I'd rather be thinking about my swing. I play a lot of golf. I'd rather be thinking about my swing than trying to hook up an irrigation and trying to deal with that. So I hand water.
You like spending the time.
I love coming down here and watering the girls every morning.
Put on your Joe Rogan.
I do.
Your pH, your water.
I just have a really nice time down here, and I find watering every day. It doesn't take me very long because there's nothing that is hydrophobic. They accept the water that I give them every day very quickly. So I'm in and out of here if I want to be, but usually I'm touching the girls. I can't help it. I can't help but touch the girls when I come down here and I talk to them and I'm down here. So let's talk about our wet soil. When we put our sprouts out of our dome, when we took them out and we planted them 18 days ago, we planted them in the soil. We first took our soil that we were using for seedling soil, which, by the way, the soil that I mixed, you guys can use a bag of good soil, seedling soil. You guys can use whatever you want.
I'll put our recipe in. Our recipe is also in the spreadsheet, too.
Yeah. And I make my own soil, and I primarily do it because Fox Farm got out of Canada, and that's what I was using before. And I said, well, you know what? Let me just try to make some of my own soil, and that's kind of what I'm doing. And that recipe's in our spreadsheet as well, if you're interested. There's lots of good soil recipes. I suggest you guys.
Jeremy at Build a Soil can tell you a couple.
Well, he can sell you some good soil because he's went to the trouble of making soil and then testing it, so it's perfect. And he's really done a good job. I've never tried it. But I would be willing to bet he's got some great
Jeremy
soil.
Can hit us with some soil.
I think he ain't sending us soil from the U.S., but I would use his soil in a second. In a heartbeat. To be quite honest, I would probably use Fox Farm. Mixing your soil is a pain in the ass. I'm going to tell you that.
It's so nice just to have a bag of it, eh?
And add amendments to it. It was kind of nice. But you know what? This is what I do now. This is my new thing. I make my soil. I tweak it a little bit. I'm trying to come up with I'm trying to tweak my soil so my plants are always really happy. And so every grow, there's a little bit of tweaking involved.
Talk about the up pot hack, like how you get the soil to the right moisture.
I showed how I did it in the first video, in our first episode video. I showed how I I got all the soil to a certain moisture. I showed the moisture.
So it's wet. It's really wet, but it's
I wouldn't say it's really wet.
It's not muddy.
It's not saturated.
It's got air in it.
So when you plant your girls in there, there's lots of air in this soil, and there's enough water that the roots are going to follow to wherever the water is. So the roots right now are going down, they're drinking. The roots are making their way all through these containers. And I can tell you, it's almost 3 weeks. It's what, 18 days now. And these girls, I can tell you this one's probably gonna need to be watered in a few days for the first time, 3 weeks, maybe a little bit over 3 weeks. But I think 3 weeks, I'm gonna soak these girls, give them a really good soaking. And then it's gonna take a week for them to dry out enough for me to water again. And then they'll only be in the containers for another week, and it'll take a half a week, and then it'll take a day, and then I up pot. It's really quite quick the way it happens, but they will be in these containers for 5 weeks from the time I planted them in the containers. They'll be going into their 7-gallon fabric bags after 5 weeks of being in these containers, and they're gonna have plenty of roots, and they're gonna be plenty big and ready to go. That's when we use both tents.
Yeah.
When we get out to 7 gallons, because they wouldn't all fit in this tent. And at any rate, and we also thought about it. I said, you know what? I wouldn't mind going from our little seedlings into our
7-gallon bag.
Our 7 gallons. And then I started thinking about it and going, yeah, but I won't have a chance to re-amend the soil.
Yeah, because you go from seedlings, we make a kind of a gentle seedling soil so they don't get newt burn when they first get in there. Then you do a veg soil, which is stronger.
Basically, I make a really good soil, and I put everything but the kitchen sink in it. I put everything in it, and then I use that for my seedling soil. And before I take that soil and use for my final pots, I add more 444 and more 284 to my soil, and get a lot more amendments in there. Get them ready to go for the
veg where they're
gonna go through the veg, and also start them also through transition, because I won't be putting a top dressing on them.
Hey,
I will. No, third week. Third week of flower.
All right.
That's when I'm third week of flower, Mrs. Grow Daddy. I'm going to put a top dressing on these.
For them to get their top dressing and flour.
Well, to be quite honest, I'm going to do something a little different too. I'm planning on getting maybe some molasses and maybe giving them some molasses.
Some tea.
Yeah, and you're feeding the soil. You're not feeding the plant. And then who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll do something to feed the girls. Maybe get them a little extra. I mean, I have some stuff laying around. I've got some liquid. I've got some liquid stuff. This is veg, but maybe I can pick them up a little.
Stinky fishy stuff.
Yeah, but the girls like it. I mean,
they do.
This is 332, so this is just veg. But maybe I'll get a bottle of flour, and every once in a while give them a little dose of.
A little treat.
Yeah, this is what I used to use before I started using dry amendments, and this is, you mix it in with the water. You know, it's a hassle. And it stinks, and it does.
Oh.
And I haven't grown with it in, I don't know, 6 grows.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time since I used bottle. But you know what? 1 or 2 times through the grow, the girls would probably like it, I'm guessing. So I may even throw this in their veg. I got some veg stuff here, and maybe I'll throw a little bit in a couple of waterings. I'm just planning on giving the girls a little extra this season.
Something.
Well, that's all we've done for the water. And I'll tell you what, these girls have been sitting in here.
They haven't gotten any water. In
almost 3 weeks. Now, I look at our notes for our last season. We watered for the first time after 3 weeks. And I'm feeling Ivy. She's drinking more than the rest of the girls. I even weighed all these girls.
She's a bit of a superstar.
She's got an ounce less of water in her than these other girls do.
So you weighed them.
I weighed them this morning out of curiosity. And she's got a little less water in them. She's going to need water in a few days, and we're going to water them all at the same time.
Oh, there's one other thing I wanted you to mention.
After 3 weeks. 3 weeks! I used 2 big sticky pads on each sides of these, and that's why the top of the soil's still wet. Because it's kind of almost...
We take them away for filming.
We take them away for the filming, but they haven't caught a gnat, by the way. But they've been great mulch for the top, because they've let the top hasn't dried out. I haven't sprayed the top. I haven't done anything. And you can still see some moisture in the top of these after almost 3 weeks of being in here.
With previous grows, you brought a spray bottle with some.
First couple weeks when they were seedlings, I wanted to I spritzed the top, but that was more for humidity in the tent. I wanted to keep the top humidity, you know, for the humidity to keep it up in the tent.
This is great because they just kept all their moisture in their soil.
Yeah, and as far as VPD in the tent for the last couple weeks, well, our VPD chart is over here. And this is just a basic chart for you guys. You guys can look and see where you're at.
And sweet spot for temperature and humidity.
Yeah, and we try to stay correct on this VPD.
We went a little off-road last.
Little bit, but we're gonna bring down the humidity a little bit in flower. But nevertheless, we have our chart, and sometimes we don't look at it either. We think we're doing the same thing we did the season before, and we maybe fall off a little bit.
Totally forgot.
Yeah. But if you're following this chart and you're looking at the range you need to be in, this will help your plants grow a little faster.
Well, it helps them photosynthesize.
Yeah.
And it helps them transpire.
And where the stomatas are breathing, and the bottom line is these things are weeds. Don't forget it. They're going to grow in anything. But if you want to baby them like I do.
They do have a preferred temperature and humidity.
They do. And the chart's right over here if you guys want to give a look at it. And we've learned from other grows. We've grown really cold environments with bad humidity, and we've seen very, very, very...
We've had some tragic results.
Well, the plants looked good. They just didn't grow. They just slow down and they just don't grow. So just to help the growing process, we try to keep them in this zone so they photosynthesize and grow the fastest. That's all. And we went through our last grow pretty quick as far as our veg. It was only 5.5 weeks. We filled up the tents with 2. By the way, we will be only having two in each tent, and they will fill up the tent in about, well, according to this, they'll be filling up the tent in about another...
Yeah, they're doing pretty well.
5 weeks, so yeah, about another, something like that. I don't want to get all way down on that. Needless to say, just take a look at the chart for our VPD. We're keeping it right now at about 75 degrees in here, and our humidity we're trying to keep at 70. So that is our... that's over here on the chart.
Should be in the sweet spot.
It should be in the sweet spot. If it's not, mention it in the comments. Wait, let's go check out weed porn. This will be our first weed porn. We didn't do any on our first week because we were too sick and too tired. But we're going to start our weed porn right now. Let's go, Mrs. Grow Daddy. Boom. Come on. Hey, welcome to Weed Porn. Glad you guys made it to our Weed Porn segment. This is where we give you a good close look at the girls, and that's basically what we do. And when we start training, I'll try to do some of my training techniques, while we go through this segment, but the girls are looking absolutely fabulous. But let's take a really, really good look at each one, and let's start with Heather. Come on, Heather. Hello, Heather. Heather is from Rocket Seeds, and she's a Shiskaberry. I'm chasing the dragon with these Shiskaberries, trying to get something that I had before. Absolutely love the Shiskaberry that I had, but I'll tell you what, Heather's looking very, very good. What can I say? She looks healthy, wealthy, and she looks very wise.
You topped her too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I topped her. That's what I can show you. I can show you a little top I did on her a couple days ago. Okay, I topped her.
Here's her scar. Oh look, she's already getting her little 2 more.
Yeah, she's got her 2 little. She'll get 2 branches coming up out of that. And next week I'm going to bend these girls over, so maybe even during the week we'll show that. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But needless to say, by topping her, I'm going to, I forgot what you call it, but it will help the growth of all my branches to come up and grow out from the bottom. And you can see she's just doing really beautiful. She's a really good looking girl. And what can I say? She's doing really, really well. Let's take a look at Ivy, I would say her Shiskaberry sister from Rocket Seeds in the tent. Hello, Ivy. Ivy is, what can I say? Ivy is amazing. She is growing. She's twice as big as everybody else. Her leaves are big. She's just taken off. She's going to be our monster in the tent. She's absolutely beautiful. And I will end up putting Ivy with, if we get a girl that isn't growing very big, we're not afraid to switch our girls to get a full 10 around here. So if we have a girl that isn't performing as well, we will put a bigger girl in the tent with her so we can fill the tent out at the same time. But I'll tell you what, so far Ivy looks like she's just an absolute...
She's a standout.
She's a standout. She's a monster. Did we get a look at where we topped it right here? And you can see, even where I topped it, look at her shoots are so much bigger. She's growing leaps and bounds. She's going to force me into watering everybody else a little earlier than I wanted to because I'm going to water them all at the same time. But as you can see, she's doing really well.
And you know something funny is I don't know who it is, but I'm getting a lot more smell than I usually do out of these very young little
interesting.
veggies.
Of course, I'm what do they call it? I'm when you can't smell.
Nose blind?
I'm a little nose blind because all I do is I smell my dope all day long, and I'm a little nose blind. Let's take a look at Sage. Sage now is our Chemy Lemmy from Nectar Genetics. And she's doing about what the other 3 girls are doing. She's just looking mighty fine, growing really nice, looking really healthy. And I'll tell you what.
Where you topped her.
And here's where we topped her, and you can see she's kind of like the, you know, she's kind of like Heather there on the end, just starting out her two. And those will be two new branches coming off the top. And I'll be encouraging this younger growth on the bottom to grow out more. And let me just say, our nectar, we wanted to grow 2 of them. We didn't get 2 good seeds though. They were unbelievably looking seeds. The seeds were
They're really big. Maybe they had thick skins.
I don't know. They were beautiful color, and they were really big, and they looked like the best seeds I've ever seen in my life. But we had one kind of runt out. I would say that was a seed problem. It ran into the seed. One didn't go, so we ended up only growing 1. I really wanted to grow 2 of these so I could put them together, because the whole purpose of an F4 like Sage is the whole purpose of the Chemy Lemmy. She's an F4. That means she's a real stable genetic. She should look like the rest of her seeds. Unlike the rest of the plants, the genetics will be a little bit further off because they're not F4s. Anyways, really looking forward to growing this out, and we'll see, because we'd like to try to grow her again. We know her genetics are going to be really good. So let's check out Fern now, okay? Fern from TERPYZ. She's our Afghan Kosher. And let me tell you what, she is the second girl in the tent drinking the most so far. So she is, I mean,
second biggest.
She's the second biggest, but she's really not. She doesn't look a whole lot bigger, but I got to tell you something, she looks absolutely beautiful. And if you look, we also pinched her. And you can even see, but you can see hers are a little bit bigger, you know, and it shows the girls that have a little more roots, who drink a little more water, they're just growing a little, they're growing their parts a little quicker. And let me tell you what, Fern is absolutely beautiful, and she's TERPYZ. We've had really good, we had a couple TERPYZ in the tent that just did really well, and they looked really beautiful. So we're really happy to grow out TERPYZ again. Anyways, you know what? That's the girls. And that's our weed porn segment. And all the girls, you guys look really beautiful. They haven't really learned how to talk yet. You know, they're not really talking yet. They're more or less just kind of being really quiet, and they're quiet. That's what they're the best babies to have, because they don't cry and they don't yell. And I figure in a couple of weeks, when I start training them, being, you know, coming in as a gym coach,
they'll start crying.
That's when they'll start crying a little bit, and they'll let me know it. Anyways, we just love all these girls, and we will. Well, what can I say? That was our porn segment. Come on. Thanks for coming, you guys, for another. Okay, I can't say epic yet. It's not epic. I just can't even use that word yet. But I'll tell you what, you will hear epic when I start feeling, when I start really feeling. You know what? It is a little bit of epic. Look at Ivy. She's epic. So there is a little bit of...
They're all epic in their own way.
They're all beautiful in their own way,
Come
but
on,
she's twice as big as the rest of them. That's a little epic. That's a little epic.
They each have their own gifts.
So thanks for coming by, you guys, for another epic week in the tent. Love you guys, and love all the support you guys give us, because it keeps us making these videos. We love making the videos for you guys. And what can I say? Your support makes us try harder to make them better, and
tell us what you like, and you can tell us what you don't like, as long as you're polite.
Well, you can tell us. They do tell us what they like all the time. Our show is our show, and we're probably not going to change it for anybody, though, right? Because we're really doing this show for us to begin with.
We bear it in mind.
We really do. We love you guys, and we thank you guys for supporting the show like you guys have been. And what can I say? We'll see you guys next week, episode 3 in season 10. Come on! Mars. Come on! You ready?
Okay.
As long as it's blue, it's on.
Yeah, okay, go.
I'm assuming it's on.
Okay, so let's start.
Come on! Something happened to my watch.
Let's talk about light.
Try a little bit of this. Get the energy up. Hey everybody, I'm at 13 inches right now. Are we ready? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.